students from Takoma Park Middle School quietly walked out of their classrooms and walked around the school for 17 minutes in memory of the Parkland students who were shot to death. It's very powerful. It's amazing to be here with these young people who are standing up for what they believe in. Many of them are young people who've grown up in this community, who I've known since they were babies, and to see them standing up and talking about how we need change and demanding change from our government is very powerful.
So it was a collaborative event where students asked to have some sort of memorial, some sort of demonstration in terms of at school. And our teachers worked with them, the administration worked with them, and that was what we had today. We have a range of students. I mean, we have students that are very interested in justice and national politics, and want to organize their voices around many issues, not just this particular one that they wanted to commemorate today. And then we also have students that aren't as knowledgeable about what's happening in the world, and that are kind of learning through their classmates about their different opinions, and they're kind of developing their opinions of different topics.
My heart goes out to the families and friends of those who were the victims in Florida, but so many other places too, and I think that's the point. This isn't just an isolated incident in Florida. You can just list the incidents by the name of the towns that most of us never thought about before. Now they're symbolic of what's happening, and I just think we have to take stronger legal steps to prevent something like this from happening in the future, to reduce the likelihood that it will happen in the future.
I think it's what our democracy is about. I think it's very important that people have the ability to come out and state their beliefs. I think the youth in our country are really teaching us something that a lot of adults really need to take notice of. It's amazing how they mobilize, how organized they are, and I commend them for doing that. I understand balancing the Second Amendment right, but there are certain weapons that are just weapons of mass destruction. They're not hunting weapons, they're weapons of mass destruction. So I think addressing our gun laws and addressing mental health are the most important things in addressing these issues.
Well, I think as an educator, you're always afraid, because one of our biggest responsibilities is really keeping the kids safe. And, I think, when educators have to do so many different things and then these things pop up, I think it really puts it in the front of our brains that, safety is the most important thing.
The local government level, I think the most important thing is for us to support our young people as they take stands and to raise our voices as well. Tonight on the City Council, we're passing a resolution in the support of the young people, and in particular for the March for Our Lives that will happen on March 24th. We are also supporting a number of the bills that are in the Annapolis legislature this session so that we can have greater gun safety in Maryland.
I think schools do have very strong crisis plans in place. That's something that we work on, all the time throughout the year in terms of making sure that there's a plan in the event of a crisis situation. And I think schools, are constantly evaluating that. But it is scary to think about, that something could happen.
We meet regularly with Montgomery County Public School staff as well as their security. We had a meeting yesterday to assess all of our schools in Takoma Park. We are definitely coordinating with Montgomery County Police, Takoma Park Police, and school security to put measures in place that, Lord forbid, something does happen, we're ready to address it. We're also planning an active shooter event here at this school over the summer just to get our officers prepared, familiar with the outlay of the school, as well as responding should something happen.
I was very proud of our students. I was proud of their respect and how seriously they took this event, and it was very moving and powerful.
I'm extremely emotional as I walk with the kids today. The strength in all of these kids to come out adamantly for what they believe in is amazing. I'm just proud to stand with them today and all the kids across the country that are standing up for what they believe in.
I think there's always more we can do. We have our youth council in Takoma Park, we have our Explorer program, but always creating opportunities for young people to be part of our government process, to have a space, to actually have a seat at the table when we're talking about policies and programs that impact their lives. That's the most important thing we can do.
The event is pretty great, just seeing all these people coming together and just sharing their opinions on the topic of gun control.
I think that this event is going really nice. I think it's very good for our voices to be heard today. I think that we've progressed and had shown so much strength and so much improvement, and that we can change.
I think it's amazing that you just get a community of people who feel the same way about gun violence and things that have happened in the world together to support such a wonderful cause.
This is going to change everything, and it may not change right now, it may not change like tomorrow, but it will. We have the strength, the ambition, and the willpower to do this. And if they don't change it, we're going to change it for them.
What this says is that they have to listen to us. The numbers speak for themselves. Hundreds of thousands of people here, you can't not listen to us anymore because we're going to demand change now, so it has to happen.
I think that it's going to cause a lot of change, like drastically, and people will be getting voted out of office.
It's great to see so many people coming together for a common cause. It's been far too long dealing with the same kind of events where people are dying every day, especially black and brown people. So it's good to see people coming together, trying to make change, trying to pressure lawmakers to make the changes that we've been demanding for so many years.
I think it's really monumental, and it's amazing how many people have come out today to support this, and this movement is just so important.
I feel like this event is incredibly important, and it's really incredible to see all these people that really came out and are fighting for like the same cause, which is safety and like against like gun violence.
I think this movement's really powerful, and I'm really honored to be a part of this, and I'm really proud to see everyone coming together and supporting this cause.
I think it's awesome because people are protesting because this is a serious matter, and this shouldn't be pushed aside about what's happening, because kids shouldn't be able to walk into a school with a gun and they not say anything or do anything about it. That's not fair.
It's a very powerful event that everyone from different cultures and different religions are coming together to condemn the gun violence. Yeah, I think it's very powerful that everyone's coming together from different places.
It's really great that we're getting a chance to speak up about what we believe in, but I don't think it's enough, because in the past we've done marches and we've done events like this, but no one has really listened. I think there really needs to be something big to happen for the lawmakers to really listen to us.
I think that there are some people in our schools who just feel like outcasts, and they feel like violence is the only way to channel their anger. And so this is how they do it, by hurting other people. And that will never change. We just have to stop giving them the tools to hurt other people.
There's a lot of anger, and I think there's a lot of helplessness in students that drives them to do these things to harm other people. I think that they have so many problems that need to be fixed, and that there's just a sense of helplessness.
There are people who don't feel like they fit in or feel like that they have something against people, and they want some way to take their anger out, and they feel that the way to do that is to just shoot and to kill people, because that's the only way to get rid of them.
There's also something to be said about mental health issues. It's not a lot said here. It's a lot about gun control, but I think there's some things that could be definitely made a little bit better, because I don't think we hear a lot of that. It's just so easy to get guns today, and we are coming together just to try and stop it.
People aren't in their right mind, and there's not a lot of things that they put onto people that they can't get guns, because some people can just walk into someone's house and just take a gun. They need to be more protected about their guns.
I think one of the main reasons is mental health issues, and a lot of kids struggle with that, and I think that needs to be brought to attention.
There's no explanation, really. It's just
people who need help, but they're not getting the right help, and they're just acting out.
I don't know what starts this, honestly. It just needs to be controlled more. Just people just like act out, and it's like our children. Me, for example, I'm a high schooler. I can't go to school thinking every day that someone might shoot it up because they have problems going on at home or something.
People are so quick to say that it's guns, it's people, but it's multifaceted. There's so many things that play into the reasons that America specifically has this problem. We have easy access to guns, we have mental health issues that are going unaddressed, we have structural racism, and all of these things combined together are creating a problem that needs to be addressed in a multitude of different ways and not just one single way.
I think kids in school, they get bullied and then it drives them. And also like adults, they don't really understand what kids are going through. And some people in the government, they're not like listening to what people are saying about how this shouldn't be able to happen, like how guns are and be able to come into school.
I think it's a big problem that guns are even available for anyone to purchase at all, ever. I don't think guns should be available to anyone. Unless you're a soldier fighting in a war, it's not safe, it's not healthy for anyone.
Politics, money, power. That's really all that it comes down to. And I think that it's important to realize that the children and humanity is much more important than just, money and power.
Well, I say one life is worth more than all the guns in America.
I feel like we definitely brought awareness to it, and there's so many people here that are fighting for it, but I feel like we need attention from the higher powers to do something about it.
The higher powers and the government just really need to do something, and if we keep needing to meet up and protest, we will. I think what would help is just kids being nice to other kids, and schools reaching out to kids that feel like they aren't accepted by the cliques or society and within the school.
Well, we need some legislation for sure. Bans on assault-style weapons would be a great start. I think our schools need less police regulation and more support for students, more resources for students, more mental health access in earlier life so that students learn how to take care of themselves and take care of others and nurture an environment that makes people not want to go out and kill other people.
People understanding what kids are going through in the school and how it can drive them to do things like this, like shoot up schools and stuff. And the government should help with keeping guns out of school because guns shouldn't be able to be in the school.
I think that we need to focus on mental health. I think we need to focus on being a community, being a family to each other in all schools, that no one feels like an outcast and no one feels not included.
Common sense gun control and just an overall conversation about what's going on, I think would really help.
Getting people like our congressmen and women to listen to us, and finally, and people of importance to listen to us, so that we will one day maybe have a chance to change it and get everybody who's young to support and everything. And the more supporters you get rallied behind it, the more they'll be willing to hear you.
Raising the age that it's allowed to buy a gun, banning certain rifles and guns and things, and also teaching kids and teaching people in school early on about mental health issues that could lead to things like this, and also about how unsafe it is to have these kinds of weapons available to children. Next, well, I hope some kind of gun reform, but I'm not really sure. We'll just have to wait and see.
Number one, mental health awareness to kind of spot children that are suffering. I think that's very important in schools and families, and again spreading awareness about gun violence and everything, who's being affected the most.
They should really think about what's more important to them, their rifles or children's lives, because I shouldn't have to go to school and have to do a lockdown drill because I don't want to die. I don't feel like I should have to do that in my own school, and they have to think about that. They have to think about the fact that if they're not going to do it, we're going to vote them out, and we're going to do it for them.
like, I don't think I counted, but I'm sure about like 8 or 9. Like, I had so much fun. And then I had a lot of eggs. Yeah. I think I went to the middle. I wanted to go to the middle so that everybody would go to the end, and they probably picked up a lot, but then I would go to the middle and get the ones that they left behind. I would choose a lot of purples and turquoises. There was lots of candy, and then like I got 1 or 2 tattoos.
It was really fun, and I got about 20 eggs, so it was really fun. I have opened them. There's like candies, toys, tattoos, and a lot of fun stuff. I was trying to look for the golden egg at first, but when I saw it, I couldn't really find the golden egg in the 7th and 8th lane, so I just left it and I found other eggs, so I can get a lot. Yeah, they pushed me around, but they said sorry, so I still got some eggs.
I didn't win because I was trying to get the golden egg, but I tried my best though. I think 10 or 12. Maybe I was trying to get the golden egg, but my cousin got the golden egg.
When we were out over there, I saw a lot of eggs, so I just went to, because I heard some people say that right here, there's like a lot of eggs, so I just went running to like the end of here to get a lot of eggs, so that's why I got a lot of eggs.
So when everyone's in the middle, you go to the end and then get all those eggs, and then when everyone's at the end, you go to the beginning, so you have more eggs.
These works here you see here, they were painted in 2017. They have to do with the universe, and they have to do with landforms as well as the heavens. And I am sort of thrilled and excited to understand what's up there in the heavens. And I'm not the only one. Scientists do the same thing too. And they have found when they're looking at the moon that there's a dark side and there's a lighter side. For the moon is all dark, but it draws its light from the sun. So what happens is that I said, okay, I'm going to challenge that. I am going to do the other side of the moon. And they have craters on the moon. And then another part, they don't have craters. They're sort of smooth-like because of the lava. So I tried to figure out what could I do. And so I started doing these designs. 1, 2, 3. All of these are done in glass. I throw the paint on the glass, and I sort of figure out how I want the paint to run. I not only created these 3 works, and those 4 works, those in the wall and those over there, but I created them so that you feel tension. And I try to do that by line and balance and color. I know everybody doesn't like this kind of abstract art. So I try to do something that they could relate to in time and space, something that they say, oh, that looks like something I know. Now, for the rest of the work, they're actually collages. You put pieces of paper together. Actually, those pieces had nothing to do with this. But when I was doing that, I said, wait a second, it's pieces going together, although they're collages, they're interacting. So I put them all together. So this here, and then those over there, in the what's against the wall, those are the same things, but a different paint.
I got inspired to do photography way back in middle school when I was given a manual adjustable camera that we call the twin lens reflex. They don't really make them anymore, but it was a lot of fun, and it got me to put together a home darkroom, and I was off and running. And once the digital world began, I sort of transitioned over, and that was a help because I have trouble seeing things in focus because I don't have the greatest eyesight, and with these new digital cameras, they kind of focus for you. Even so, I sometimes had trouble seeing things through the viewfinder. So several years ago, I hit upon this idea of trying to capture the energy of an image and its motion rather than its specific outlines. And so I started taking some really long exposures, and the ones along this wall range between 1 and 20 seconds. And the outlines of the subject soften when I do that, and it shows some of the motion. That's not the only type of photography I do. The ones around the corner are reflection photographs, a different technique, and I also take some purely conventional straight photographs, although I try to take maybe an unconventional approach to the subject matter. And then if it's still too bright for a long exposure, I use a darkening filter in front of the lens. Generally, I just hand hold it and let the natural motion of my body, it sort of plays sort of a random role in this, and then I look at what the results are. I take photography seriously, but I don't take my own photography too seriously. I try to, create a little playfulness, and I hope that comes out here.
I'm inspired by women in very vulnerable situation. All those pieces address the whole issue, which is just women are often victims in war, and they don't have any power. We're the most powerless. We don't have power because we don't usually carry around weapons or anything like that. We're just trying to take care of our families or, secure the home or whatever. I started out as a painter, and so I found the faces and I made them into sort of a graphic design so that they could be less personal and not to kind of protect their identity and their privacy, but I would still know who they were. And so I painted that on transparent Mylar, and I also use steel and acrylic. And some of the things that I've done in the work, for instance, I've made shapes that are like nests, and so the nest is a symbol of feminine power for rebirth. I wanted to show that, one, their vulnerability, but two, their own strength, their internal strength, their resilience. They're not just victims anymore, that I wanted to give them some kind of internal power. And also I use the shape of the circle, which is kind of shows the individual, and it also shows the whole. And in this respect, I'm thinking we have to take care of all of humanity. We have to stop the violence.
The sunset was just perfect, and I said, no, we have to stop here. So in the middle of nowhere, pull over, and I have to get, my wife knows the drill now. I get out with my camera, and the way I work, this is actually a picture of maybe 30 different photographs bumped together in Photoshop. That's the way I do it. So I have to chunk, ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. So it takes me maybe 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes to photograph a single object. I saw a book with 20 or 30 of these works by David Hockney, and I fell in love with it. And I said, I want to try doing that. So for the past 7 or 8 years, that's what I've been doing. All my photography is collages of many photographs put together on a single backing board. And then later, now I do it all entirely in Photoshop.
I work in fused glass, kiln-formed glass. It's not blown glass. It's a little different process where you're cutting and shaping and forming the glass and then fusing it in a kiln. One like this, which is fairly complex, takes me days of cutting and assembling the piece, and then it takes 1, 2, sometimes 3 different firings in the kiln, and each firing takes usually overnight. So it's got to go to 1,480 degrees Fahrenheit, so good temperature. And because it's glass, it can't accept sharp changes in temperature, so it's got to heat up slowly and it's got to cool slowly. I cut and shape and assemble the glass onto the sheet, and then it's fused in the kiln. So I'm not actually working in the kiln. It just, all the design takes place beforehand, gets fired. Sometimes when it comes out, I add to it and fire it again. A couple of years ago, I was out in New Mexico and traveling around, and I got to see some of the natural sites and a little more familiarity with the local culture, Native American culture, some of the symbolism. And I just started working with all those ideas at once, the symbolism of more or less a sunset or a sun symbol, and radiating out using the colors of the sunset. The technique is called tapestry. So if you look closely, it looks like the pieces are going over and under and over and under. Initially, I had been doing silversmithing, and I saw somebody wearing a glass pendant, similar to what I have on, and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I could incorporate my silver and glass. But once I got started in the glass, I discovered a medium that I just couldn't stop working in.